I was just thinking about something. Like, if you aren't sure how you could directly improve your life, but you want to, obviously, and you're not sure where you could start, um, I believe you should start here. Now, I am a firm believer in meditation, either religious or just thought process wise. I believe both are very beneficial, but they are not the same thing. There are many different religions, but there is only one human brain. You know what I mean? So, mindset wise, there's only one brain. But if we're talking on a larger scale, like religion is definitely different. There are different forms of religion, there are different forms of religious satisfaction, there are different forms of religious rituals, and etc., 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 etc. So, what I would start off with is a simple form of meditation. Void your brain of all thoughts. What does that mean? Now, that what that doesn't mean is become silent, your mind. That's impossible. Uh, your brain cannot stop thinking because we have something called, I'm gonna just say a left hemisphere. The left hemisphere is completely responsible for, mostly responsible for the infinite. Like, it's responsible for absorbing everything in at once. It's very easy to confuse this part of the brain. Normally, when you introduce something new, that part of the brain is like really trying to gobble up as much information as it can. And then it takes that information and it gives it to the right side of the brain. And the right side of the brain normally, like you could say, for example, like this book right here that you're looking at. That's what the right side of the brain does. It takes every form of information that your infinite side has conglomerated, and then the right side just says, okay, uniformity. And that's where I get to my next point. Like, when you want to start improving something and you don't know how, normally you'll need to build some form of uniformity, some form of either habit or just characterization, organization, because it's all a numbers game. Like, at the end of the day, and this is talking about specifically with mindsets, not improving anything yet, but just with your brain, like understanding your brain and how you can begin to make situations better for yourself. And this worked for me. I mean, hey, it worked for me. I mean, I'm not rich, but I most certainly did improve. I did improve from the last moment I was checking in on my mental state. I can say that I improved. So, um, this left side of the brain can't be silenced, but the right side of the brain can't. Can. If you're ever thinking about something in class, and then you just start to wander off into la la land, you're actually just wandering off into your left hemisphere. Your left hemisphere. You're just idle. If you can tap into that state during meditation, you can actually begin to hear a lot of thoughts, a lot of, I won't say unnecessary, but very real and true thoughts. Like, even me now finding what I want to say, I just tap into that left hemisphere, and it gives me a sort of basis on where I want to continue from. And then there I bang, okay, let me put these thoughts together and get them out into words for you guys to hear. I express myself. Doing that alone can be very challenging. How do you do it? Well, first, void yourself of all consequences. Lose your ego. Like, I know this is going to sound cheesy and crazy, but there was a new transformation in Dragon Ball Z, and it's called Ultra Ego. Now, for those who aren't aware, I'm not about to start talking about anime. What ultra ego is in a nutshell is the let go of everything. Like, you aren't a guy with a job and a wife and kids, or you aren't a woman just walking around doing her thing. What you are now is just a thought bubble. When you are meditating, you are quite literally a thought bubble. Nothing is going on. Your eyes shouldn't even be perceiving what you're seeing. Your eyes should be closed, or even if your eyes aren't closed, you shouldn't be actively thinking about what you're seeing. You should be thinking about what's on the back end and the subconscious and the left part of the brain, because normally it's that left part of the brain that's doing the job while you're looking and trying to process stuff, and you're hearing things and you're feeling the sensation of touch. Avoid all of that. Think specifically about, okay, that's it, just silence. And once you're able to reach that moment of silence, listen to the thoughts. They'll begin to manifest themselves without you having to do anything. And if you are a person whose vibration, and by vibration I mean emotional state, literally, if your emotional state is such that your subconscious brain is feeding you a negative feedback loop, you have to change your mind. Like how people say, oh, I changed my mind. You must change your mind. You got to change your mind, bro. That means that your brain, for a prolonged period of time, who knows, has been in a flux of negativity. And I realized that within myself. I have. And I know it sounds very complicating, but it's actually all very simple. Your brain is responsible for a lot of things that you don't realize, because it shapes your perception on how you view things. Like, I know for some people, you say terrorist, and me, I immediately think of Mossad. You might think of a Muslim. It's just how our brains perceive things because of what we were fed subconsciously, right? You get me? So when you can begin to tap into your subconscious brain and say, okay, well, why do I have these thoughts when my brain is unengaged? Why do I feel like I'm being fed thoughts that aren't even mine, or negative thoughts, and how can I improve them? You improve them by first recognizing what that thought is, recognizing what feedback loop pattern you have that is making you whatever, even if it doesn't make you feel any type of way. Just recognize that feedback loop. Once you can recognize that feedback loop, write down feedback loop. Once you recognize that feedback loop, bro, just chill. Continue meditating for a few more weeks. This is not going to come out a day and 2 days and 3 days. It's probably going to take months, if not years, to truly perfect, because the brain is not something that's easy to change. People can say, oh, I change my mind all the time. It's very hard to actually change your mind once you think about what changing your mind actually means. Changing your mind means, okay, if I was fed this thing subconsciously for years, or if I was fed this thing even consciously, like for years, I have to undo that. It could seem scary, stressful, overwhelming. Just remember that it all starts with that one improvement of the mind. Even like, let's talk about drug addiction. Like, I guess my perception on drug abuse was such that I imagined that if a person was addicted to a specific drug, it'd be hell to get off of that drug. But no, I communicated with myself and I understood internally that, well, my brain was just telling me that probably because the drug of choice for certain people may make them feel pretty good. And once you feel pretty good, you want to avoid getting away from it. And how do you avoid getting away from it? You make it hard to get away from. And that can occur outside of drugs. It could be social media, it could be sex, it could be, well, you name it, bro. Money, you name it, bro. You name it. Unethical things, you name it. It could even be an ethical thing that you might want to stop, you know? It might just not suit you anymore. But this understanding of what it is you want to change after you sit down and meditate for months on what it is your brain is thinking, that's where you can truly start to shape where it is you want to go from there on, because then you're a clean slate. And once you're a clean slate, you know, you become happy. You say, well, yeah, now I can begin to do the things that I always wanted to do. Then you got to figure out, well, what is it that I always wanted to do? You know? And once you reach that point of understanding and you're like, fine, I want to do this, I want to do this. Like, for example, myself personally, you know, this is about to get real personal. My New Year's thingamabob resolution, whatever you want to call it, once the New Year came, I said to myself that I want to I want to live and love the creation of God, and whilst also empowering those around me subconsciously. And I feel like that's what I'm doing now, which is why I'm saying, bang, I'm actually actualizing, internalizing, blah, 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 blah. I'm doing it. You have to do that. And at first, it can seem very stressful, even though you're on a clean slate. It could seem damn near impossible because you're like, bro, where do I start? And, you know, I feel like that's a video for another time. Now that I think about it, I feel like this was a good talking point to stop on, because I'll have to come back in a few months and let you guys know where to go from there, because even me, myself, I have no idea. I'm just treading on in the paths of life, just like you, so don't be a hater. Yeah, that's all. If you can learn how to tap into your subconscious brain, that left side where all you think is infinite, you'll begin to really understand yourself better. Like, a lot of your old habits, they'll die hard. And a lot of new habits will form. They may be healthier habits, you know. I don't know. You guys got to let me know. Please let me know. If what I'm saying is bogus, is complete, utter trash, let me know. Or if what I'm saying helped you, send it to a friend. Send this video out to someone, and if it did help you understand something that you didn't before, I would appreciate it. You know, you would appreciate it. They would appreciate it. Let's do it. But that's where it all starts.